Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. We're bringing you another edition of the Hold Down the Fort Sports Podcast. We've got our Week 1 NFL recap today. We've got Ryan Prezlomski on the show. It's his first time here. We're going to break down this packed Week 1 slate all the way from Thursday up until Monday. We had some crazy stuff going on every day. So we're just going to break some of that down, give our predictions for this week, and we're going to talk some ball. We've had some crazy few weeks with college football and NFL. The seasons are back. We're definitely back. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Ryan, anything you want to say before we get right into this?
Yeah, excited to be here.
Sure. As we open it up, this is probably the biggest takeaway from the weekend game-wise. There's a couple that you could argue, but in my opinion, the most eye-opening game of the weekend was the Bengals losing to the Browns, 24-3. Joe Burrow looked awful. He got pulled in the fourth quarter. He went 14 for 31, 85 yards. No touchdowns, no points. All they got was a field goal. He looked
80
horrendous.
Yards. Crazy.
And Ryan, I gotta ask you, how concerned should the Bengals fans be after this Week 1 performance?
Well, I will say, last year they did the same thing. Super Bowl hangover. They started slow, but the Browns aren't the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Getting embarrassed to the Browns that bad. You get paid the highest ever. You put 80 yards
fresh off the contract too.
I don't know. I last year, they were able to recover, but this might be different. The Browns aren't known for having a good defense. I know they have Myles Garrett and
They
have
got the
some
line.
good players.
Yeah,
but
other than the defensive line,
they weren't playing the Niners. They weren't playing the Cowboys. 80 yards? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's got to be concerning. And like you said, I understand they did this last year where they opened up 0-2. And those losses were bad, right? You got the Pittsburgh on opening day. Joe Burrow, something about him against AFC North teams, he just really struggles because he threw, 4 or 5 picks against the Steelers in the opening game last year.
Yeah, Minka Fitzpatrick, we thought was going to be the decoy.
Exactly, yeah. He had us thinking that he's the greatest safety to ever play. And then they go and they lose to the Cooper Rush Cowboys, and that was a crazy game. And the Browns just have this guy's number. Burrow cannot beat the Browns. This makes him 1-5 all time against the Browns. Whether it's Deshaun at QB, Jacoby Brissett, Baker Mayfield. He can't beat anybody as long as they're playing in Cleveland. So I understand. And then I think they might go 0-2 again if we look at their schedule. They've got who they got. They got the Rams on Monday Night Football. We thought the Rams were going to be bums. Sorry. They get the Ravens this weekend.
Yeah. I was going to mention that game later. I think that might be
so we'll come back to that one.
Might be a big game.
But the Ravens didn't look like world beaters themselves, and they could start out 0-2 again. If we look at the rest of the schedule,
division and conference.
Right? Yeah, and exactly, you can't afford to start 0-2 in this loaded AFC.
Not even in the conference, your division. 0-2 in the division's a definite.
Agreed. You got the Rams on Monday night. We thought they were going to be bums, but they're not. Rams look good.
Stafford looks good.
Oh, yeah. Then you got the Titans, who are always competitive. Cardinals is a win, but Seahawks, 49ers, Bills, Steelers, Ravens again, Jaguars, Steelers again, Vikings, Chiefs, Browns. That is a hard.
You can't beat the Browns. So the Browns, at this point, it's an automatic loss.
Yeah, just chalk it up. So, this is...
They got a rough schedule.
Yeah, they have a rough schedule. I don't know if they can afford an 0-2 start. I think Bengals fans have to really ramp up the worry because, you can't just do this every year we start 0-2. The O-line has not moved up at all.
T. Higgins, 0 for 8.
0 for 8. That's ridiculous. That's unacceptable. You
don't
think
wants to get paid, right?
Yeah. You don't think it's sustainable, but who knows? Jamar Chase not doing much. Tyler Boyd. Joe Mixon struggling to get it going in the run game. And this defense is a defense that lost pieces. You lose Jesse Bates. For whatever it's worth, you lost Eli Apple. So, you're losing pieces off of the defense.
Depth or at least solid starters.
Exactly. So, I'm a bit worried for the Bengals fans. I think you should definitely be worried at home if you're a Bengals fan because this isn't looking pretty.
Yeah, not to go too far into it early, but that Ravens game is
It's going to be important. No, it's definitely going to be important. Because the Ravens go up 2-0, you gain 2 games on the competition early. I understand the Steelers lost, but now the Browns and the Ravens could both have 2 games on you if you lose this game. It's a hard hole to climb out of. But yeah, It's got to be an important game this week. Who do you think wins? I mean, we won't go too much into our predictions, but I just got to ask you right now because we're on the subject. Ravens versus Bengals this weekend. Who wins that game?
I mean, based off what I saw last week, I can't bet against Lamar.
With his new weapons, Zay Flowers look good.
Flowers.
He
Oh
looks
my,
good. I put him on my
looks good.
fantasy bench. He looks good.
And I mean, I can't get over the 80 yards, and I
No,
can't
I
get over
can't.
T. Higgins not having a catch.
There's
Until I
been some
see it,
bad
I
games,
can't bet
but
on it.
yeah, there's been some bad games, but 80 yards is ridiculous.
Crazy.
With that being said, though, we move on to maybe a little personal bias for both of us being Dolphins fans here on the show. And a lot of the guests that we bring on are, of course, Dolphins fans. We're all Florida natives. But Tua and Tyreek looking like whatever, throw it out. Any dynamic duo. Jordan and Pippen, Shaq Kobe, Moss Brady, throw them out. Every dynamic duo. That is what these guys look like this weekend. 36-34 win over the Chargers in an absolute shootout. Tyreek goes for 11 catches for 215. Tua goes for 466 and what was it, 3 touchdowns? Crazy performance from our dynamic duo. Waddle with a quiet, 78 yards, I believe, maybe a little in the low 80s. I mean, this team looks good. This is not last year's Dolphins. Does this prove that the Dolphins are true contenders in this year's AFC?
Absolutely, and I just want to shout out Braxton Berrios' 2 humongous catches.
Oh yeah,
That
and
third and
Craig
15, bringing it in on the sidelines. And Craycraft played great also. Makes those, he got a touchdown. He dropped one in the end zone, but
yeah, but I mean, he made up for it.
And Smythe was getting fed like he was Kittle. So
I thought they wanted him to do.
That's what I'm saying. So, it's not just Tyreek. And Waddle, I don't know how he had 80 yards. I mean, I was there and I felt like he caught the ball twice. But somehow he gets 80 yards.
80-something yards I've ever seen.
So, I mean, the thing is, Tyreek, what they're doing with him is disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
Every play,
Mike McDaniel's
he's in
squeezing
motion.
everything out of him.
He's running around. He's not you can't guard Tyreek on a wheel route where he's going up on some, he's cutting on some, he's running the ball with some. How do you guard that?
I don't think there's no way. You can, and they were playing man cut. I mean,
and Tyreek never did that last year.
No.
He's doing it every single play.
For a defensive coach with a defense that is the most expensive defense in the entire NFL, this Chargers defense looks horrific. You've got all these guys getting paid. You've got a Mac and a Bosa on the edge and a crappy Dolphins O-line.
How many times they hit Tua?
Not a single sack. I mean,
he didn't even get he threw the ball away and got drilled. He didn't even have that.
How many chances does this guy Staley get? You choke, what was it, 28-0 in the playoffs last year. Every time. You got the game, was it 2 years ago, the tie game with the Raiders in the playoffs.
And we know Justin, fourth quarter Herbert. I mean.
It is ridiculous. Yes, Justin fourth quarter. Me and you were making jokes about that, what was it, the day before the game. And of course, it comes to fruition right away.
He didn't throw necessarily a game-losing pick, but the Dolphins went up to miss an extra point, which would have put him up 3. All Herbert has to do is go down the field, which he did every single drive because our defense wasn't playing good, and get 3 points.
That was the only thing that worried me.
And he couldn't do it. The only bad drive he had, well, not bad, but only drive he didn't do anything was in the clutch. The lights were too bright so far. I don't know.
Which sucks. I mean, the guy is talented. Like, we can both admit he's a talented quarterback.
But the thing is, he was checking the ball down that whole game. Yeah. He didn't throw the ball 20 yards in the air, I don't think, once or twice. He looked like what people say Tua is. If you watch that game, you would expect Herbert to be slinging it far.
He should. At some point, the decision to not throw the deep ball can't keep being the coach because we get rid of the offensive coordinator, bring in Kellen Moore. The decision to not throw the deep ball has to come back to Justin Herbert at some point. Whether he's scared, whether he's numbers watching, I don't know what it is, but at some point he has to be held accountable.
You can't say they don't have receivers. You have Keenan Allen.
You loaded it. Quentin Johnson just got drafted.
The new guy they drafted.
Quentin Johnson, you got everybody. It's loaded.
I mean, you have Eckler, who's one of the best catching running backs, in my opinion. I mean, he always is running out. Like, what's the excuse?
Eckler played crazy. He almost carried that team to success.
Because the Dolphins' D-line looked awful.
I mean, yeah, and to answer the question more thoroughly, I mean, yeah, I believe that the Dolphins can be contenders in the AFC. If I had to pin it right now, I know we had a crazy weekend. I'd say we're the second best team in the AFC. I still got the Chiefs at number 1. I get it. No Chris Jones, no Travis Kelce. lost by 1.
They still
Uh,
have Mahomes at the end of the
yeah,
day.
and the receivers, I mean, we both watched that game. The receivers are clearly to blame for that. So I still have the Chiefs at 1. I would then put the Dolphins at 2. And I think there's a drop. I'd say Jacksonville at 3 because they had a good weekend too, playing the Anthony Richardson-led Colts. But yeah, I'd say we're the second best team in the AFC. You're right. You pointed it out. I think the defense is a major issue. You saw they just picked on Kader Kohu all weekend. Our DBs are definitely a problem. With the guys on the line that we have, I would expect more pressure to be generated
I
than we
need more
got.
out of the line.
Yeah. I mean, at the last possession, which, okay, it's the most important possession you delivered.
You did. They showed up. I'll give them
Good for
props.
you. But just the whole game, it felt like and Ogba's back.
Up
Ogba's
the middle,
healthy.
6 yards every single rush for
Yeah.
Eckler. Up the middle, 5 yards. Up the middle, 6 yards. It was crazy.
I mean, Ogba's healthy again. He's on the line. Sealer, Jalen Phillips,
Wilkins.
Christian Wilkins, Bradley Chubb. That's a crazy defensive line when everybody is on the field.
What?
And we got nothing.
We'll see this week. You know, at the end of the day, it is a new coach, it is a new scheme. The coach is a Super Bowl champ for his, he's a defensive coach. I mean, it's got to come through eventually.
You would hope. I mean, and every Dolphins fan was happy when Vic Fangio got added to this defense. Some people even went on to say that he was the biggest defensive addition of the offseason, and that includes
I agree.
an offseason where we got Jalen Ramsey, who's not playing yet. So, maybe the defense, I can't fully judge it until Ramsey comes back.
But Ramsey was jumping up on the sidelines and stuff. He definitely will be back. Soon. He's going to be as quick as he can on that field, which should be mid-year.
So. And I mean, I can't with Xavier Howard. I can't with this guy. He felt like he had 3 pass interference calls in a row.
He had 2 in a row, and then he had a third and maybe a fourth.
I think the third one was like a illegal contact or like a holding or something.
But it was just
he's too slow. He can't keep up with these guys anymore.
Yeah, but when he is not guarding the other team's best receiver, when we get Ramsey, he can lock back in.
I hope so. Yeah, that's my hope too.
And then Kohu won't be guarding the second best. Kohu will be guarding the third man.
And Nick Needham should be back at some point. I don't know if he's on the field now.
Brandon Jones is back, though, which is good to see. Holland played good.
Who's back?
Brandon Jones.
Oh, I thought you were saying Byron Jones.
That guy will never be back.
I think he already retired, but
yeah,
Brandon Jones is great to have back out there. He looked good. Him and Holland, like in the way back of the defense, is great to have. But you're right. Yeah, once we get Ramsey back, we can have Ramsey, Howard, Nick Needham guarding the slot, and I feel much better about that.
Yeah, I'm assuming Needham and Ramsey are going to come back mid-season.
Right. And then Kohu coming, as depth is fine. Once we put him at the 4th or 5th, and he had a great sack that was almost a safety at the end.
Yeah, I thought it was a safety, but he got the ball.
Well, yeah, Justin Herbert played it smart, got the ball out of the end zone.
Yeah,
good for him. But yeah, so I mean, I think the Dolphins are the second best team in the AFC. Where do you have them?
I'd say 2 right now. Best in the division, though, 100%.
Oh yeah. I think that after we'll talk about the Bills game and the Jets game in a little bit. The Dolphins should 100% be favored to win the AFC East, and I think
we are betting wise right now. I know,
as they should be for now. But with that being said, we'll move on to the other game that people would say is the most impressive one of the weekend, and that was Cowboys against Giants on Sunday night, the international primetime spot. Cowboys just dismantle them. 40-0, complete shutout. I feel so bad for whoever went against the Cowboys defense in fantasy. I had the Cowboys defense, so I felt good about my night. I mean, wow. I mean, just a destruction of the Giants, and 40-0, and that doesn't just happen every day. Do you think this is more on the Cowboys just being that good, or are the Giants just that bad?
It's the Giants being that bad in my book. Now, I won't lie. I was in the airport for that game, so I only saw clips and highlights. But
me too.
Daniel Jones gets a bag. Saquon cries all offseason, gets a bag. You draft Hyatt, the receiver. 40-0 at home? You let Noah Igbenogany get a touchdown.
That's our throwaway.
That's all I have to say. That's disgusting behavior. That guy's a bum.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins just discarded him like he was nothing.
That is the worst first-round bust we've had in years.
Probably, yeah.
He gets his first ever career highlight against you guys. That's insane. And The Cowboys are the Cowboys. They're like the Jets. They'll always be the Jets. They'll always be the. They'll always find a way. They're kind of like Dolphins. They always find a way to choke. It feels like. But
But last
the
night was not,
Giants,
or Sunday
0
night
points.
was not that night.
0 points is crazy.
I mean, I totally agree. I think it's just the Giants being that bad. Are the Cowboys as good as they looked on Sunday night? Probably not. But I mean, they're obviously they're you could say they're the second best team in the NFC.
Behind the
You could
Niners.
that those top 3 teams in the NFC could be put in any order. Dak was fine, as good as you can be in a 40-0 blowout that your defense caused. So he's okay. You've upgraded the receiver core if you're the Cowboys. You've just done a little bit of everything. No Zeke anymore, so it's addition by subtraction almost for the run game.
Yeah.
And that
Let
defense looked
Pollard shine.
yeah, exactly. And that defense it looked as good as ever. We all knew it would be good. I don't think any of us were expecting it to be this good. But you're right. I mean, not a lot of people thought Daniel Jones was worth what he got paid over the summer. And they still have not put good receivers around him. The O-line is, 7 sacks in one game. The offensive line looked like it was in shambles. And you have an all-pro on that line, too. So for it to look that bad is almost impressive. I think the Giants are just that bad. It kind of feels like a one-season wonder last year where you were average, snuck into the playoffs, beat the Vikings, who no one expected to
And
win
New York
anyway.
media will always hype a New York team up. It's
Yeah,
like
and that
LA,
yeah.
New York. It's like
And
the
that was
Lakers. The
overhyped
Lakers
them.
get more love than the Heat, who made the finals.
Oh, yeah. Lakers will get more love for getting swept in the conference finals than the Heat will get for making
They were
the
saying it
finals.
was the best team ever to get swept. I've never heard
I've
any.
never heard that comparison until LeBron does it, and then we're going to go right to that.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, no, the Giants.
It's
I
going to be
can't
rough.
say it was the worst performance in that stadium of the week because Josh Allen takes the cake on that.
Oh, yeah, he does. We'll move straight to that game before we get to the last Sunday night one. Bills, Jets. Everyone hyped up about this Aaron Rodgers debut. It's a new era for New York. This is the most hyped up Jets team we've ever seen. Heck, DJ Reed came out and said this would rival the 85-86 Bears defense. I mean, this is crazy hype. And Aaron Rodgers goes down within 4 minutes, 4 snaps. I mean, it's your season, obviously, for Jets fans. You got to feel so deflated. You got to feel like it's down the drain. And yet, all of this, and somehow you won. Somehow you pull off a punt return touchdown in overtime from who's the guy that brought it back? I just saw
Hard Knocks star.
Yeah, the Hard Knock star runs it back. Was it Gibson?
I believe it's Gibson.
Yeah,
Xavier Gibson. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and as much as a Jets fan, you want to feel like we went out and won this game, like we did it. What was
Your
Josh
season's over.
Allen doing? I mean, the Bills. Every game post Dable looks worse and worse. This is 5 turnovers. He had 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles lost. What are we doing? I mean, and you got the announcers getting on to the point where they're making fun of him for being like a fake Superman. He's diving into unnecessary hits.
He looked like a dolphin, like an actual dolphin in the sea, just flying into people for no reason.
I mean, the Bills look like they're deteriorating in front of our very eyes. I think the Super Bowl window is closed. You're not that good. Maybe when Von Miller gets back, we can reevaluate. But one man is not going to do all that.
How many games Von Miller played in the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Like 4?
I'll say it. Last year when he did play, that defense looked otherworldly. But
they lost big pieces this
matter.
offseason, which is why I originally knew that the Bills weren't going to be what they were. But I didn't expect this.
No, nobody expected.
Diggs is going to force a trade at this point.
He has to. I think he was fed up after last year.
I love Diggs, but he's a diva. Let's be real. Yeah, he's not going to stick around with this in Buffalo. He's going to want to go play with his brother. He's already hinted at it.
I mean, that would be. I just don't know if they do it because you just traded for Brandon Cooks. You got Michael Gallup. I don't know, like.
Regardless, he'll go somewhere else. He's not going to sit in Buffalo and rot.
Where do you think he would go other than the Cowboys?
He's not going to sit in Buffalo if this keeps going on with Allen.
Where do you think he'd go that's not the Cowboys?
He doesn't want to go to a dumpster fire either. Because, let's say the Colts. The Colts don't really have any receivers. Panthers don't really have any receivers.
But that's who's probably trading for. Like, it's not like he has a no trade clause. I mean, that's who's trading for you.
I'm thinking of like a team that he'd ask to go to that is in the NFC. Because usually you trade your stars out of conference.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't.
The Niners are stacked receiver-wise. Cowboys have receivers.
Lions, maybe?
I
To
could
pair
see
him
the
with
Lions.
Amon-Ra?
What about the Chiefs? I don't think that Bills would ever do that, but
No, Bills wouldn't
put
do
him on
that.
the
That would be
Chiefs.
so awesome, though.
Yeah, no.
Well,
But
I can't see. I'm trying to think of an NFC team that's competitive that
it
would
has to
trade
be
for him.
NFC, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, Bills aren't going to send him AFC. I can't really think of one.
I honestly,
Vikings,
I'm at a
but no, they've
loss.
got Jettas. I mean, and he was already
Dude, the
there,
Vikings
obviously.
are deep. They have Addison, Jettas, Osborne. I mean,
Osborne looks good, yeah. I'm just like running. I mean, it has to be the Giants, right?
it would have to be the Giants or the Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't think either of them would do it. I don't think the Bills would.
But
would send
he's not going to want to sit in the Bills if this
No,
keeps going on.
I don't know how much longer he has on his contract, but at some point it's gonna get tough.
He's already like past the point, and it just keeps going on.
Yeah, do you think the Bills? I mean, can the Bills even make the playoffs at this rate if Josh Allen keeps looking like this?
No, but Josh Allen knows how to. Next game, he'll play
Yeah,
great.
you gotta hope it
Everyone
was
will
just the
forget
season
about it.
opener nerves.
But here's the thing: Josh Allen leads the league in turnovers since 2018,
Yeah, it's 51.
including the 4 or whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's including that.
Regardless,
It's a
he
lot.
was tied for the lead before last game, so I know he has the lead because no one else had 4 turnovers
And the
last
people
week.
he's on there with are like either out of the league or bums. Baker Mayfield, Matt Ryan, and that's a list.
He's a more skilled Anthony Richardson in terms of the IQ and the turnovers.
I mean, for as much as we all hate on Anthony Richardson, he didn't look horrible in
He
week
didn't look
1.
horrible, but at the end of the day, when it mattered, he made the decisions he made in college. The dumb plays.
Yeah.
The
And the
dumb
announcers
stuff.
were on him the whole time. The guy doesn't know how to slide either. Just took hit after hit and got taken out of the game because he got hit too hard.
It's just like Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Josh Allen does not know how to not get hit.
But
It
I
hasn't
think
cost
with
him
Josh
yet.
Allen, I think he does know, and he just won't do it. I think he wants to make the Superman plays. He wants to be the guy who puts the team on his back when he doesn't have to. I think he chooses this. I really do.
It's going to cost him. And
Yeah, 100%.
the Bills,
He's going to turn into Ben Roethlisberger.
the Bills are going to be like the Jets if he goes down.
Yeah. I mean, Jets.
The best thing, though, with the Jets, the best thing for the Dolphins and for the Chiefs and for the Bengals and for the Ravens, the Jets winning that game was the best thing to happen for the AFC. So at the end of the day, they are done with Zach Wilson as quarterback.
Do you think the Jets are going to go out and sign somebody?
They
Matt
are.
Ryan, Carson
And guess
Wentz?
what? They're not gonna. I can't see them even making a wild card without Rodgers.
No, I doubt it. I think because if we look at all the teams that are competing, Chiefs,
Their
Bills,
defense will win a
Dolphins,
few games.
Browns, Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, and probably Chargers. Like that's 8 teams already, and there's more competing. So I don't think they can do it without Rodgers. But I don't know. I don't think they're gonna sign anybody because no one they sign is doing much better than Zach Wilson. I think maybe like a Jameis Winston.
They'll sign like a vet backup, but they're not gonna. Dude, the market for starting or backup quarterbacks that could start, there's no market. Trey Lance gone.
Jameis Winston or a Jacoby Brissett trade. That's about it.
Jameis Winston and Jacoby Brissett, they don't move me in the deep AFC. In the NFC, that team might make the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. I think they'd sneak into a wild card. They'd be the 22 Giants, and they'd make a wild card team.
It will win them a few games, but they didn't win that game. Josh Allen lost that game.
Yeah, 100%.
And also, Dalvin Cook, how do you feel? Went there for the money in the ring, and you got your money at least, I guess.
Brees Hall looked better than Dalvin.
He signed to be an RB2 and for a ring, and
could have came to us.
He should have came to Miami. He wanted to come home. And at the end of the day, he said with the money, he wanted to play for a championship.
Yep, and now he's going to get 6 wins.
You're going to get Zach Wilson as quarterback for the next 16 weeks.
Yeah, he's going to get it worked. But with that being said, we'll move on to the last game before we get into our predictions. Eagles-Patriots, an interesting one. Kind of went down to the wire. Eagles win 25-20. Does this say more about the Eagles or the Patriots that this game was so close and just the way it all went down?
I mean, I guess it would say more about the Patriots. You know, they kept it close. I was expecting a blowout. But
me too.
At the end of the day, okay, it's a moral victory. They still lost.
Yeah.
Mac Jones, I mean, he got a bunch of yards, but at the end of the day, Mac Jones doesn't move me. He doesn't. He's just not there. he got benched for Bailey Zappi. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like this isn't a guy that Zeke didn't play good. Ramon Stevenson didn't play good. I mean, 29 yards, 25 yards, both averaging under 4 yards a carry. I mean, the receiving core is mid at best.
Yeah.
Your number
They
one
need to trade
receiver is
for
Kevin Bourne, and your running back.
Well, I mean, and the receivers played okay. They didn't even play that bad. It just, wasn't enough at the end of the day.
Yeah, and of course, no Devontae Parker. I mean, are we shocked?
No.
Always hurt. And you had a fumble by Zeke. Zeke's overrated. And at the end of the day,
I don't even think he's
the
overrated.
Eagles
I
were
think he's
just in
just
the
bad.
Super Bowl. I mean, Super Bowl hangover, but they still won. So
Yeah. I mean, that's the point I was going to make. I do think this says more about the Eagles because I'm really hoping that this doesn't. I mean, I'm not really hoping for anything. But I'm sure as Eagle fans, they hope this isn't the start of a Super Bowl hangover run.
yeah,
We see this from a lot of Super Bowl losers. They come out the next year, they're just not as good. And there's reasons to worry if you're the Eagles. Like you guys are not a perfect team. Of course, the roster is stacked. The draft, I mean, Howie Roseman's draft abilities are just out of this world. He's ridiculous. They've got the entire Georgia defense in there back there. But you
they
lost
got
both
Jalen
coordinators.
Carter, got all of
Yeah,
them.
N'Kobe Dean, Jalen Carter, everybody. I think Keely Ringo is on there too. I mean, everybody. But you lost both coordinators. Your pass game is very suspect. Lost your running back.
Yeah, but the
So, I mean,
coordinator that went to the Cardinals, the biggest joke of a coach in the league. So I
yeah, I
mean,
mean, people are happy about that. But I think Shane Steichen leaving for the Colts is very important. I think that might come back.
but the other one,
That's fine.
50.
Defensive line was amazing, but the DBs, I mean, the pass game for the Eagles is still very suspect. I think they can get got when they play teams with better receivers. I mean, you just saw what the Mac Jones Patriots did to you. I can only imagine what when the
Yeah,
Dolphins
well, they
play them.
lost the one defensive back that went to the Lions that was playing great on Thursday night.
What
was it?
I'm blanking too. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'll think of the name. Give me one second.
Bradbury?
He was the one chirping Pacheco during the game.
Oh, no, the safety, C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a big loss. They traded a first-round pick
not
for
only
him.
is he talented, he's one of those like leaders on the team, the vocal leaders.
Yes, exactly. And they gave up a lot for him too. So.
And also, at the end of the day, you sign DeAndre Swift and he gets one carry.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be running back one.
Offensive development is going to be very interesting for this. Well, this game was, definitely what you like to see from the Patriots. Like, if you're a Patriots fan, you can't be that disappointed.
No, you lost by one touchdown to the Super Bowl.
For what it's worth, after last year, I guess you can call it a moral victory. But this has to say more about the Eagles. And you just got to hope that this isn't the start of a dangerous trend and yet another Super Bowl hangover for the defending NFC champs.
Well, they play tomorrow. So.
Is it? Yeah, it's Eagles-Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll give our, that's a great way to segue into our predictions. Prediction week for week 2. We got some good games this week. I'm certainly looking forward to everything. We'll just go game by game. I'll kind of ask for your prediction. I'll just see if I agree with you. Like you just said, we got tomorrow. Vikings, Eagles, Thursday night primetime in Philadelphia. Who takes this one?
I got Philly at home, only because they're at home.
The spread is -6. Do you think they cover?
I do. And who's in primetime?
Exactly. Kirk Cousins.
Who's in primetime?
We've seen this 100 times over.
One pick lock.
Oh, yes. He has 100%. If the line is over 0.5 on the Kirk interceptions, I'm hammering that. Packers, Falcons. Oh, yeah, you're right. Packers, Falcons. By the way, on the last one, I do agree. I think Eagles win and cover the spread.
Perfect.
Packers against Falcons in Atlanta. Line is Green Bay -1. Who wins this one?
Honestly, this is a tough one. Jordan Love played crazy, last game. Good. But then again, the Falcons just played Bryce Young in his first ever game. The Packers beat their rival and Justin Fields, who's supposed to be him.
He's supposed to be MVP. He's supposed to be the next Lamar Jackson. He's supposed to be all this.
You know what? I'll take Green Bay -1.
Yeah, me too. I agree. I'm taking that one. Raiders, Bills in Orchard Park. Line is Buffalo -9.5. Who takes this game?
I mean, I can't. If the Bills lose this game, it's mayhem in Buffalo.
Oh my gosh, everything is burning.
Diggs is requesting the trade that night.
I agree.
I by default I have to go for the Bills. I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo, but I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for the Raiders.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Devontae Adams, rooting for them all, but I can't picture the Bills going 0-2
Do they
to
cover the
start.
spread?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I
I think
I
Bills
I don't
I
feel
think Bills
confident
end up
enough saying
winning.
they're gonna win by
No.
10 after 5 turnovers. Like,
Yeah, I think Bills win. Raiders cover the spread. Raiders having like an okay roster in place. I think you're in Orchard Park, and you just got to figure that Josh Allen has to bounce back after this,
but if
right?
Jimmy
There's no
G
way he
goes in
can't.
there, like how
Yeah.
they just went on the road against the Broncos and won a close one, Jimmy G goes into Buffalo. I'd be crazy.
And then we already talked about the Ravens and Bengals, so I'll skip over that.
Yeah.
Seahawks Lions in Detroit. Detroit -5 is the line. Who wins?
I gotta go Detroit. I mean, the
Yeah.
Seahawks just lost to the Rams, who we all thought was going to be down there with the Cardinals this year. You know, with no Cup and
Uh-huh.
Stafford hadn't played in so long. I mean, Detroit just beat the Chiefs. You can't bet against that. They're going to be at home. First time they've sold out their season tickets in what 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
That place is going to be slammed. I got Detroit minus. What's their line
5.
for this?
-5.
-5.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, agreed. I got the Lions. I think they'll cover 2. Seahawks don't look like the Seahawks of last year.
No.
Chargers Titans in Tennessee minus Chargers -3. Who takes this one?
You know what? I'm gonna say Titans
Really?
because Ryan Tannehill. I can't picture him throwing 3 more picks.
I can.
I hope not. I think the Chargers. I know they lost. I know they're gonna come fired up, but that's one of those losses where you're broken as a team. Your defense let you down. Your offense didn't do enough, but they did enough. Your running back had 50 yards, 130 yards. And Justin Herbert, bro, it's mental for him. I don't know. Call me crazy. I got the Titans.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I get it; it's at home for the Titans, but I just don't think that team is that good this year. I think Chargers, and I think the Chargers will cover too. This is, I think, an underrated, interesting game. Bears Buccaneers in Tampa. Line is Tampa Bay -2.5.
I agree. Justin Fields, I mean, the score was closer than it actually was in that
Yeah,
game. He was getting embarrassed. Um, I got to take a Justin Fields bounce back. Even though I do like Baker, I'm rooting for Baker at the end of the day. I got to take Bears +2.5.
yeah. I mean, the Tampa Bay certainly proved that they can be an interesting game, but I think we also overrate them a little bit. Um, I think I agree. I think this is a Justin Fields bounce back. This is almost a must win if you're the Bears and the Bears fans. I think DJ Moore is going to prove you why he's paid as much as he's paid. Why the Bears, went out and finagled their way to get him. I think this is a great game from these two coming. Bucks defense is certainly not what it was when they won that championship. I think the Bears take this, and they certainly cover +2.5.
Crazy thing is 2-0 Baker if he wins that game. And then you got to start looking at their weak division.
Oh yeah, they can definitely
They
make the
could be
playoffs
front
if they
runners.
win this game. Yeah, I
That'd be
agree.
crazy. So,
The game of the week: Chiefs Jaguars in Jacksonville. Line is KC -3.5. Who takes this game?
I think this is one
Chris
of the
Jones is
best
playing, by the way.
games.
Chris Jones is expected to play. No word on Travis Kelce yet.
I mean, I got the Jaguars. They're
Yeah.
at home. They're going to be rowdy. I mean, this is their. Were they at home last week? Let's see. They weren't at home last week. This is their home opener. In that hot Florida sun. I don't know. I can't bet against T Law at home. I got Jags +3.5.
I agree. I mean, and
Even
I
though
feel like
Kelsey's coming back, even though Jones,
yeah.
the defense wasn't the issue. So Jones,
No,
I mean, he'll help, but
but
I mean,
Travis is
he
big.
can feed Kelsey all he wants. But if they double team Kelsey and force the receivers to
Someone's got to
catch,
step up.
can't drop everything.
Yeah. I got to say, it's almost a guilty pleasure of mine to kind of root for the Chiefs a little bit sometimes. Like, if I know the Dolphins aren't going anywhere, I might, root for the Chiefs a bit.
Yeah, I like Patrick Mahomes.
Me
As you
too.
know,
I do. But at the same time, I root for a lot of the players on Jacksonville, mostly because I have them in fantasy. But they're kind of an intriguing team to me. They looked okay against the Colts. I think the Jacksonville defense didn't do as great as you would want against an Anthony Richardson, no running
yeah,
back, no receivers Colts team. So if Travis plays, It's a hard decision. I think maybe the Jags cover and the Chiefs win it like the Lions just beat them, where it's like a 21-20, 24-23
But
kind
personally,
of
I'll be
affair.
watching that game at 1 p.m.
Oh,
This
me
will
too.
be the
Yeah, I'll be
game I'll be
glued to
watching.
that
Since the
screen.
Dolphins are at night,
I'll be glued to that screen. Colts Texans. Let's just rapid fire this one. We don't need to spend too much time here. Who takes this
Texans,
mid off?
Anthony Richardson doesn't move me. Stroud gets his win at home.
Agreed. 49ers Rams. Another one. We can just blew through this.
Niners.
Agreed.
Whatever the
Giants.
line is, whatever.
Yeah,
Niners.
-8. I say Niners cover it. Giants Cardinals -5.5. Do we really gotta spend too much time here? Cardinals are just
It's
playing
the
for
worst
Caleb
team in the
Williams.
NFL and the other worst team in the NFL. But no, of course, we got Giants.
It's a Caleb Williams face-off, and I take the Giants,
Giants.
which is almost a loss if you win this game. But
If the Giants somehow lose this game, DeBall has to get fired.
oh yeah,
I know it's
he's a good
early,
coach.
and I know they love him, but he has to go.
Yeah. Jets Cowboys at home. Jets with Zach Wilson. I'd spend a lot more time on this game if it was
Cowboys -9 is the line. I got Cowboys -17.
yeah.
That's what I'm
I
thinking.
mean,
And Zach Wilson gets demolished multiple times if he survives the game. He almost
yeah.
got taken out last night or 2 nights ago.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if Aaron Rodgers was here, we'd be spending like a lot more time on this game. As good as
This
the
will be the game
defense
of the week.
is, I mean, the Cowboys just look like they're proving their point. They're going to start off 2-0. Jets are going to get a rough first loss. So I'll take the Cowboys. They'll probably cover -9.
The Cowboys, it was the D and the special teams, which the Jets they can't survive that.
It's at
Zach
Jerry World
Wilson
too, so I agree. Commanders Broncos. We don't have to spend too much time here.
That's such a mid off.
Yeah, Denver -3.5. Tickets are probably, they probably pay you to come to the game for this.
Yeah, they're paying out for people to come into Denver.
I guess I got Denver winning, but the Commanders are a sneaky team, so I'm not going to be surprised if the Commanders come out of here with
I
a
guess
win.
I have to go with Russ.
Yeah, agreed. And then lastly,
2 Monday
like you
games.
just said. Oh, yeah, true. We do have a Monday game. So second to last, our Sunday night primetime. 8:20 NBC. Dolphins Patriots. Line is Dolphins -3. Who wins this game? This is what we want to see. Who wins this game? Yeah.
I'm
They cover
not even
-3.
being biased. At the end of the day, Tua's 4-0 against the Patriots.
Yeah, he's got Belichick's number, that's for sure.
I don't have to say more.
Me neither. I think they cover. I think they keep the success going and a nice 2-0 start to the season to deal with this
I
tough
heard it's
schedule.
going to be rainy in Boston, and that plays
68
into our
rainy.
game. Well,
And then you're right, 2 Monday night games. Saints Panthers. Nothing too crazy going on here. Bryce Young might make it interesting. Who wins this game?
Derek Carr better win this game.
Yeah, you would hope.
That weak
Saints have
division,
playoff
him
hopes.
getting that money, he better win this game.
Saints
Even though
do
it's
have
on the
playoff
road, it's the Panthers. Like, come on.
Yeah. And lastly but not least, Browns Steelers. This it has a potential to be an interesting game. I know last year it certainly was. I remember having a parlay sitting through this game and just on the edge of my seat the whole time. Browns Steelers. Who takes the
And they
cake
hate
here
each
in
other.
our last game
These
of the
two
week?
teams hate each other because they're
Oh
the
yeah,
interdivision.
it's a rivalry for sure, which makes it even better.
You know what? I see the lines Cleveland -2.5. I just have a feeling the Steelers are going to win.
That. I honestly do.
Defensive slugfest.
And remember, the Steelers just lost Deontay Johnson for a few weeks, so now it's Allen Robinson. I like George Pickens, but now it's Najee Harris.
He's a little overrated in my book, though. He pushes off a lot.
Pickens.
He has a lot of hype. Pickens. I'm not a fan of Pickett.
No, yeah. I think Pickett's looked rough, but Pickens has potential for sure. But after Pickens, it's Allen Robinson, and then you got Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. And Pat Freiermuth is actually pretty underrated.
I like Freiermuth, but at the end of the day, he's not a they're not using him as Kelsey. So he's a tight end at the end of the day. That's 4 to 5 catches, maybe.
Plus a rough Pittsburgh O-line mixed with a horrible offensive coordinator. I like Browns -2.5 in this game.
And then Steelers go down 0-2.
Yeah, the rough start to the year for them when Steelers fans had hopes that they could be a sneaky little dark horse in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, Ryan, is there any last things you want to say before we wrap this episode up?
Lock of the week, Tyreek over 100 yards.
That's bold. I like it though. I'm with you on there. I can see that. I think he wants the 2000. He's gonna go get the 2000.
Are you telling me the Chargers couldn't guard him? And you're telling me some bums in the Patriots secondary are going to guard Tyreek Hill? They
Let's sure
got
hope they
Judon,
can.
right? They got a good line. Judon ain't guarding Tyreek.
I
You have
agree. I
J.C.
think it could be
Jackson on the Chargers. You have Asante Samuel. You have you have a loaded defense, every position.
You know, one thing I noticed, just like a little side note, when we were watching the Chargers game, it feels like they drafted the entire TCU team from last year and just put them on their team.
Yeah, receiver.
Max Duggan was there, Quentin Johnson, Demario Davis. I think there's 2 defenders in there. I think there might be a running back. They got a lot of TCU guys on that
Yeah,
team from
and
last year's squad.
they got cooked. They have all that chemistry and still got cooked.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your lock? One lock.
My
Let's hear it.
one lock of the week. I'll just keep it to the games. I won't even go player props. It's hard, but dang, because
And I want an upset lock. I don't just want
no, you know what? Yeah, I'll give you one lock and one upset lock.
Don't tell me, oh, the Niners are going to beat the Rams. Like, come on.
No. I'll give you. We both said it already. The Kirk Cousins over 0.5 interceptions. I think that hits tomorrow. I mean,
It
really,
has to. It's
Kirk,
inevitable.
on the road. It's not even in Minnesota. It's on the road.
You know that Philly crowd.
Yeah, and then
Lincoln
my other lock,
Financial is going to be rocking.
I gotta say it's. Dang, I mean,
My lock, I'm telling you, Ravens over Bengals.
yeah, I'm gonna say Dolphins -3 is my other lock. I really think I know it's in Foxborough, but
We're not. I
history
can't
against them.
picture us losing. The typical Dolphins would have lost against the Chargers by a field goal after we missed the extra point.
I sure hope we don't. I'm gonna say that's my like out on a limb lock because I don't like betting on my own team too. I mean, when we look at this, like, what else are we really? Anthony Richardson over 0.5 interceptions, maybe.
I mean, Anthony Richardson losing is a lock always. So
Yeah.
I'll do Texans as a lock at home also.
Yeah, I'll take So those are my locks. I'll take Kirk Cousins over 0.5 interceptions, and I'll do Dolphins -3. I'll go out on a limb.
We like it. And Tyreek in a ball.
All right, well, with that being said, we were going to wrap up our Week 1 NFL recap. Thank you, Ryan, of course, for coming on. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And as always, remember to like, subscribe, turn your notifications on. We're at 99 subscribers, one away from that big 100 mark. So keep reposting, keep liking the stuff. And I'm so glad you all listened to us. So thankful. And let's all continue to grow here. Peace out.